Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very well. How are you finding this Tuesday? Let me know, guys. I am a little bit tired, to be honest with you. I'm tired of Chelsea. I'm tired of BlueCO. I'm tired of people talking about money. I'm tired of seeing a lack of ambition. Can BlueCO sell Chelsea? That is the question that we've had popping around. Is there actually any hope for this to happen, or am I just spouting here? Are we spouting nonsense? Can BlueCO sell Chelsea? Can Clearlake sell Chelsea? Can Todd Bowley sell Chelsea? What about Mark Walters? What about Hansi Viss? All of these guys. I think it's very important that we understand what's going on. What kind of contract did they sign? And yeah, we're going to go from there. Big up to everyone that's watching. If you haven't already, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel as well. Shahin says we need to sack the manager. Big up to you. Sean says, do you think Sanchez starts against Aston Villa? No, I don't. I think that Jorgensen will start. Adraf says the BlueCO package includes Strasbourg. We cannot sell the whole package. What do you mean by that? As in, well, so you can sell Chelsea, but you can't sell BlueCO? What are we talking about here? Morgan says, hey mate, good to see you on the live, Morgans. Big tips lower. Can a bear shit in the woods? There you go. If that doesn't make things clear. Can a bear shit in the woods? Damien says, hi, big up to you, Damien. I hope you're doing well. Chelsea Young Boys, good to see you on the live. Smash the likes and subscribe. Neil McReynolds says, other YouTubers have said that they can't take profits until 10 years. Well, that can't be entirely true because Todd Bowley is currently the chairman of Chelsea and he's collecting 20 million a year. So we found a loophole there quite early on. And yeah, to be honest with you guys, I think that there's definitely going to be more things. Keith says, yes, they can sell the club. Jorgensen was shit against Brighton. I don't trust him against Villa. I miss Petrovic. If you trust Sanchez over Jorgensen, I'd be very surprised. I think you need to give everyone a chance. Jorgensen deserves as much of a chance as Sanchez, at least. Absolutely. Irrespective of how poor he was. How many poor games has Sanchez had? I think Chelsea's moving in the wrong direction, but a sale of Chelsea again will be awful as we can't go through that again. So I ask you this, Damien, do you think it can get worse with another owner? Or have we hit rock bottom with what we have? Even though people mock us for it and they go, hang on a second, they have spent all this money. They've invested over $1 billion. They've bought all these players. They clearly care. They clearly want to be successful. What's your response to that, guys? Amir says, get these clueless owners out of our club. They've been rubbish, especially for the decision of sacking Thomas Tuchel, which I still haven't forgiven them for yet. I will, and will never get someone helpful. Yeah. I mean, Thomas Tuchel was the start of it. Listen, we can listen to Todd Bowley and what he had to say about that as well. Now, unlike the video with Ed Barley, which I did watch and couldn't really remember from a couple of years ago, we went through that last night, guys, with Scott. So if you haven't checked that out, that was quite entertaining because he genuinely never saw it. So he was shocked by the amount of times money was mentioned, and you're going to make money on this investment, on this asset. But we can hear a bit of what Todd Bowley has to say as well. We need Palmer to step up. We need Palmer to have some help. Palmer is not being given any support. It's very difficult for a player to do it all on his own in a system where everybody else is restricted, as well as the fact that he's restricted. You know, he played better last season under Poch. We know that. Not to say he's playing badly under Maresca, because he's not. but he's working with bums. He's managed by a bum, and he's got no support because they're not bringing in any good players for him to play with. And we don't spend any money on players to win in the here and now, which is an ownership problem. They can sell if they are losing on the pitch, not making money in Europe, bad investment, players wanting to leave, and us, the Chelsea family, putting pressure with protests and calling for their heads. So essentially, if they look at this with the end game that actually we're really going to struggle to make as much money as we wanted to, or we might struggle to make money full stop, then that would be an indicator for them to sell. Again, they are a hedge fund. They're investors, a lot of silent investors as well with Clearlake. We don't know a lot of the people who put the money into it because it's not Clearlake Capital's money. It's not Egg Barley's money. He's managing other people's money. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to go through today. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I know more than everyone else, because to be honest with you, I'm almost learning on the job as well. I was behind the curve when it came to these owners. I was not aware of how bad it was. I wasn't aware. It wasn't until sort of January opened my eyes, and then the Brighton game was like, oh my God, we are just terrible. We're absolutely terrible. So one of the things that I want to understand is the contract of sale with Chelsea Fan TV. And I want to know what does this contract actually say? Now, when you look online, there's lots of different things that you can see on there. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to watch, to be honest with you. I don't know what to watch. I don't know. This is what I'm seeing right now. I mean, this is Sky. This is what they reported.
But we start with that huge news coming out overnight from Stamford Bridge. A deal has been agreed to sell Chelsea to the consortium led by Todd Boehly for £4.25 billion.
The sale needs to be approved by both the UK government and the Premier League, but the club expects it to be completed by the end of this month. Boehly's group was named as preferred bidder a week ago and has since been undergoing the Premier League's owners and directors test. The last few days have seen the takeover and the club's future thrown into uncertainty as it became unclear what would actually be happening to the money that was being used to buy the club.
So far, that money's done absolutely nothing but sit with the government, for those of you who don't know. Now, I'm sure Abramovich has sued the UK government as well because of that.
Roman Abramovich has been sanctioned and the UK government wouldn't approve a deal if he was to receive any of the proceeds.
Well, it appeared that there was a bit of a race against time to get the deal done. The government had given Chelsea a special operating licence that expired at the end of the month. The club faced going out of business if the takeover wasn't completed or the licence wasn't extended. But with the announcement of this agreement comes an attempt to clarify what will be happening to the funds. Well, the statement says this: Chelsea Football Club can confirm that terms have been agreed for a new ownership group led by Todd Boehly, Clearlake Capital, Mark Walter and Hans-Jörg Weiss to acquire the club. Well, the total investment being made, £2.5 billion, will be applied to purchase the shares in the club, and such proceeds will be deposited into a frozen UK bank account with the intention to donate 100% to charitable causes as confirmed by Roman Abramovich. UK government approval will be required for the proceeds to be transferred from the frozen UK bank account. In addition, the proposed new owners will commit £1.75 billion in further investment for the benefit of the club. This includes investments in Stamford Bridge, the Academy, the women's team and Kings Meadow, and continued funding for the Chelsea Foundation.
Roman Abramovich bought Chelsea 19 years ago, but the club was put up for sale 2 months ago, shortly before he was sanctioned by the UK government as part of the response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. At the time of the announcement, he said he'd be writing off his loans to the club and all the proceeds would go to a charitable foundation for all the victims of the war in Ukraine.
Well, the government will only allow the money to be extracted.
I mean, they're not really saying much about what I want to hear, if I'm honest. They're not saying much. But let's maybe there's a bit more to it.
From the escrow account, if it is satisfied where the proceeds are going. So therefore, it might have the ability to appoint some of the trustees to the charity to ensure that the final destination of the money goes to areas that could be either domestically, but I think it is going to focusing on Ukraine, that the government approves. The last thing it wants is for Roman Abramovich's trustees to say something like, well, we consider Vladimir Putin to be a victim of what's happened in Ukraine, and we're going to give him some of the money. So there will be checks and balances to ensure the protection of those funds.
Shortly before the announcement, pictures emerged of Bowley and his consortium, including the former Chancellor George Osborne at Stamford Bridge late last night. Bowley, who's pictured on the far right of the screen, agreement of £4.25 billion is significant. That was the figure Sir Jim Ratcliffe offered for the club, but only after the deadline of the official bidding process had passed.
Well, speaking before the official announcement, Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel revealed how the takeover had affected his team and how important it is to begin plans for next season.
I have been told last week that we have a preferred bidder and things are going forward. So it's a pretty important week now for the club, but I was not involved. I was fully focused on the pitch, but after what I heard last week, I'm confident. Clearance is always the best, because when the situation is clear, you can take actions, and then you can make a judgment and actions, and you can act. This is what we're looking for and hoping for, that we know what we deal with, and we know what the circumstances are, and what the circumstances are in improving the team, and that we can act and not react, or even worse, do nothing.
So Chelsea fans this morning will be wondering what to expect under the new Bowley regime.
Well, the Price of Football author Kieran Maguire, I've already heard from this hour, thinks Chelsea fans can expect a new Moneyball style approach, using Liverpool as an example to follow.
Well, I think what we will see is a change in strategy.
Moneyball approach. I guess that when they say that, they're talking about data. And if Liverpool was an example to go off, I don't think we've been anything like Liverpool. As of yet, we've been nothing like Liverpool, so we've been totally unique. Just stupid with our money.
Strategy as far as Chelsea are concerned. Roman Abramovich's approach was, if I sign a player and it doesn't work, then we just go and sign another player, or we replace the manager. I think what we will see is a more data analytical, a more measured, a more Moneyball approach coming from the Bowley Group. They've seen what FSG have achieved at Liverpool. Liverpool have spent £500 million less over the course of the last 9 years investing in the player market compared to Chelsea, Manchester United and Manchester City. And yet we're sitting this morning with Liverpool on the brink of a potential quadruple. So I think we will see a more measured approach to spending money, less big fees, more investment in younger players who perhaps Chelsea can look to move on at a later stage. And there will be a strategic movement as far as the playing recruitment and retention is concerned.
So yeah, that was Sky announcing the deal initially. We've got 2 super chats in here as well, so I'll just read the super chats, and then we've got more as well. We've got much more, guys, so don't worry. We want to understand as much as we can, so it's good to see this stuff. It's good to see it. The Telegraph, written by Matt Law, as part of their co-ownership contract. Clearlake and Bowley have matching rights. Big up to you, Blizz. Thanks for the super chat. Got another one as well. And blocking options if either side puts their stake in Chelsea up for sale or attempts to sell to a third party, which shows they can sell. So Clearlake can block Bowley from selling, and they have matching rights on in that regard as well. Guys, if you haven't already smashed the like button, go over 100 people in, and let's get up to 100 likes. We're gonna look at the sort of history of the sale as well. We want to understand every aspect of what we're seeing. We want to understand it all. I'm here to understand it. Big up to you, Bliss. Thank you, mate, for the super chat, and thanks for the information as well. So over here we've got, if you want to know about the history of this takeover, this is the key moment. These are the key moments right here. 24th of February. This would have been what, 2022? Is that right? 2022. Russia invades Ukraine. The 26th of February, Abramovich gives stewardship and care of club to charitable foundation. 2nd of March, Abramovich says he plans to sell the club. We know he didn't want to sell it. He said he plans to sell it. It's mad, guys. It's honestly mad. Oh, piss off, BBC. Then the government sanctioned him shortly after, so he knew he had to sell it. Of course he did. Abramovich denied on the 5th of May that he requested a 1.5 billion loan. So he made the Chelsea's repaid, so he said he doesn't want the money back. And then the consortium agreed to a £4.25 billion deal for the club. The deal almost collapsed on the 16th of May, but eventually on the 24th of May, the takeover was approved. And then the government approved the takeover. On the 28th of May, the final agreement was reached with the consortium, and the sale was completed on the 30th of May. So there's some key moments from that. Now, an article again from Sky on this. This gives more details as to sort of what was happening. A consortium led by the US business tycoon Todd Bowley has agreed a £4.25 million deal to buy Chelsea from Roman Abramovich. The Los Angeles Dodgers co-owner and his partners saw off a host of rivals to broker the takeover for the highest price ever paid for a sports club. Bowley, Clearlake Capital, Mark Walter, and Hansburg Wyss was now wait for the Premier League and UK government approval before rubber stamping the deal. Former British Airways chairman Sir Martin Broughton and Boston Celtics co-owner Steve Palico have also been vying to buy the Blues. Bowley, the chief executive of Eldridge Industries, is expected to attend the game, blah, blah, blah. Now, confirming the terms of the deal, Chelsea said in a statement, of the total investment being made, 2.5 billion will be applied to purchase the shares in the club, and such proceeds will be deposited into a frozen UK bank account with the intention to donate 100% to charitable causes, as confirmed by Roman Abramovich. The UK government approval will be required for the proceeds to be transferred from the frozen UK bank accounts. In addition, the proposed new owners will commit 1.75 billion in further investment for the benefit of the club. This includes investment in Stamford Bridge, the academy, the women's team, and Kingsmead, and continued funding for the Chelsea Foundation. The sale is expected to be complete in late May, subject to all necessary regulatory approvals. More details will be provided at that time. The Bowley Consortium is understood to have agreed to clauses that block the payments of dividends or management fees until 2032, also barring the sale of any Chelsea shares for 10 years. There's a link for this. So we'll go on that link in a second because there's more information about the dividend ban and the debt limit feature in that clause. So we will go back to that as well. The club has been owed since 2003. Blah blah blah. Mr. Abramovich cannot profit from the sale. Mr. Abramovich has insisted he still wants to write off Chelsea's 1.5 billion debt to him when the club's sale is complete. Okay, so this is the dividend ban and debt limits feature in the anti-Glazer takeover deal. So this is more information about what we've been saying with regards to BlueCO. Can they sell Chelsea? Clauses preventing Chelsea's new owners paying dividends or management fees until 2032 are being discussed as a consortium spearheaded by Todd Bowley tries to finalize a binding $4 billion takeover. The new owners of Chelsea Football Club would be prevented from paying dividends or taking management fees for a decade under a package of measures designed to avoid the controversies which have dogged Man United since the Glazers' takeover in 2005. Sky News can exclusively reveal that a consortium majority funded by private equity firm Clearlake Capital and spearheaded by the American financer Todd Bowley is in discussions about an unprecedented series of conditions as part of its $4 billion takeover of the Blues. Sources close to the bid said on Friday that the Clearlake Bowley Group was in advanced negotiations with Chelsea's advisors about measures that would include barring them from paying dividends or management fees until 2032. Now, prohibiting the sale of any shares in the club for 10 years and agreeing to strict limits on the level of debt that they can take on. In line with other final bidders for last season's Champions League winners, it has also committed minimum further investment of $1 billion in its stadium, academy, and women's team. The demands from Rain highlight the unusual nature of Chelsea's sale process at a time where the ownership of English football clubs faces unprecedented government intervention in a form of a putative independent regulator. One insider dubbed the measures anti-Glazers clauses that were designed to ensure Chelsea's financial stability in the post-Roman Abramovich era. The Clearlake Bowley Consortium, which was selected as Chelsea's preferred bidder a week ago, could sign a binding agreement to acquire the club as soon as Friday, although the signing could still be delayed by several days. Further details of the conditions attached to the agreement were unclear, although a source said the limitations on debt would see the club able to borrow £700 million for working capital. So they can borrow still a lot of money from the club. Okay. So we're looking in the hundreds of millions, but not quite the billions. Still not ideal, though, is it? The roughly $2.5 billion purchase price for the club would be funded entirely in equity, the source added. The Glazer family's $790 million takeover of Man United saddled the club with expensive debt known as payment in kind notes and provided a focal point for fan protests, which escalated in the wake of Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement in 2013. Manchester United was floated on the New York Stock Exchange a decade ago, with the Glazers having extracted hundreds of millions of pounds in dividends from the sale of shares during their ownership. The series of provisions would, if agreed, represent a bold bet from Chelsea's new owners, particularly given that Clearlake has a financial imperative to deliver to its investors. On Thursday, Mr. Abramovich issued a statement rebutting reports that it was seeking a repayment of a 1.5 billion loan to the club. He has also said he has not increased the price of the club at the last minute, despite all three of the shortlisted bidders having been told for a demand of an additional £500 million during meetings last week. Following sanctions, the other restrictions imposed on Mr. Abramovich by the UK since announcing the club would be sold, the loan has also become subject to EU sanctions requiring additional approvals. This was what a spokesman said. This means that the funds will be frozen to a legal procedure, blah, blah, blah. We already know this. 60%, blah, blah, blah. We know who owns whatever. Voting rights will be split equally between Clearlake and Mr. Bowley's group. So they have just as much a say as each other. We already knew that because Bowley gave up control on the footballing side anyway. Yeah. So it's not great, is it, guys? It's not great. But the more you look into it, the more you learn. And I'm certainly learning, guys. I am certainly learning. I mean, guys, if you've got any more information for me, or if you need me to dive into something else, let me know. We can look at it. We can absolutely look at it. Just reading some of the comments. Roman can own BlueCO. I wonder what happens if I say, can BlueCO be sold? Does anything come up for that? I really don't know. It is my computer. My mouse. Is it broken? No, it's okay. Right, let's see what you guys are saying. Can Roman own BlueCO? Question mark. I presume if you can sell BlueCO, then, well, obviously you can. But the government has to accept it as well. Would they be willing to accept that? I'm gutted to say, but it's not football now. It's a business, and they are only trying to line their pockets. Stephen says, it's good to see Alex finally open his eyes to these frauds when Minerals was warning us from the beginning. Big up to you, Stephen. Hope you're doing well, mate. CFC Daniel says, just wait until 14 US owned clubs, no relegation and games abroad. Well, it would actually, in my opinion, it would be 15 because Bournemouth's owner, what's his name, Bailey or whatever, something Bailey, he's American. He is fundamentally against that. I am aware of that. So you would need 15 if he was still running Bournemouth, unless you had other owners who weren't American who still voted in favor of that, which again would just be very strange, very, very strange. I've got slight learning difficulties. I don't understand this money side of things. Fair play to you, Dave. Like, honestly, mate, I do not. I honestly, it's quite complicated. It is quite complicated. Essentially, how to say it? We've been looking at the anti-Glazer clause, the money that was paid for Chelsea. As well, and the debt that was written off from Roman Abramovich. So the club was taken over with zero debt because Abramovich wrote it off. And also, the new consortium with Clearlake are only able to take on a certain amount of debt because of that clause. So they have agreed to strict limits on the level of debt that they can take on up until 2032. Now, my worry is actually worse than this. My worry is that they don't want to sell in 2032. They want to continue running Chelsea. And why would they want to sell the club? Why? What good reason do they have? Because if you look at what the Glazers have done, and there was a piece on the Glazers as well. Now, they took over United for 790 million, and that was in, what was that, 2005? And they saddled the club with expensive debt known as payment in-kind notes. And that provided, according to that, provided the focal point, blah, blah, blah. And then they put it on the stock exchange a decade ago. And since then, the Glazers have extracted hundreds of millions of pounds in dividends. And they've also sold some shares during their ownership. So if I was to ask, if I was to look up, and this is the concern that I have, I'll share my screen with you again. How much money have the Glazers taken from Man United? Now, we want to make sure these are accurate as well, so we can look at a couple of them. So the Glazers have taken 1.1 billion out of Man United, and no Premier League club has had worse investment in the last decade. So the owners' funding. So is this the money they've withdrawn from the club? Presumably. So in 2012, they took 10 mil. They had a little gap for a couple of years, and they take 20 mil in 2016, 23 mil in 2017, 22 million, 23 million in 2020. They took 45 million out of the club. 11 million in 2021. So United fans stage a protest, blah, blah, blah. They estimate the Glazers have taken a staggering 1.1 billion out of the club in the last 17 years. This figure includes an eye-watering 743 million in interest payments on the money they borrowed to buy the club in the first place. Debt repayments make up another 147 million, while owners have paid themselves dividends of 166 million, including 133 in the last decade alone. Now, so when you see that they've withdrawn 1.1 billion out of the club in the last 17 years, so that was since what? 2005, that's when they bought the club. My concern is that people think that that Clear Lake and Bowley, what they are trying to do is, people think that they just want to sell those shares in 10 years' time and make a profit. Why would they do that when they could do exactly what the Glazers have done? And remember, the Glazers took over in 2005. So when you look at the dividends that they've taken out since 2005, well, I mean, they didn't actually have the club on the stock market before, actually. So that, maybe that's not the way to look at it. But just in the last decade alone, they made 133 million. So in the next decade, and we're talking sort of we'll look at the 2030s. Why would Clear Lake not just hold on to Chelsea and do something similar and extract dividends from the club that way? Why not just do that? Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? So I think this is a lot worse than the club just going down the route of multi-club model, churning out young players, buying them cheap and selling them for good profit. I think that it's actually worse than that. Because if you can take 100 million out of the club every year, which is a lot of money, but you've got to remember that Chelsea can generate quite a lot as well. You've got 20 million coming out for the chairman every year. So then you need to make up for another deficit. 80 million. Okay. 80 million. And you have one big player sale or a number of different player sales on top of the fact that they increase the prices of everything else to cover that. So it's not actually that hard to make 80 million out of the club. It's really not that hard. And this is just profit, because we haven't been profitable because we've invested the profit. Why do people buy stocks? Because they go up in value and then you sell them. Why do people buy real estate when they already have a house? Because it's a passive income. And you can flip that house on for a profit as well. Got lots of different options here. So it's a really strange situation. I mean, I actually think it's so much worse than what people are thinking, because I don't think they will sell. Despite fan pressure, I don't think they will. I'm just sitting there being candid with you guys. I'm being candid. I'm being totally honest. I will be there for the protest. I support the protest. I despise the way that this club is being ran. If I was in their position, I wouldn't sell. You're going to make a shit ton. even if we're mediocre, and that's the concern now, is that we've seen what Egbali's had to say, then despite any success that we could have, still going to plan on making us profitable. This is literally what the Ricketts would have done. We spoke with people from the Cubs, which is the baseball team that the Ricketts own. They said that's what they do. As long as they make their money, they don't care where we finish. It's a sad state. It's a fucking sad state. But you are right, Clayton. Yeah, CFC Daniel is correct. If they can't sell Chelsea, they can sell BlueCO. They always find loopholes. This time they won't because they're making profit. And clearly we want to put a stop to that. I believe they can sell. I do believe they can sell. I don't believe they're going to want to sell anytime soon. I really don't. I struggle to see that, if I'm honest. Need Roman chance at the 12th and 21st minute of every game. Why the 12th and the 21st? Champions League. Nice one, Daniel. Champions League. Won the Champions League in 2012, and we won the Champions League in 2021. I was there in Porto. I didn't go to Munich, though, I'm afraid. I watched that when I was younger at home. Unfortunately, the players won't be going on strike anytime soon, Dave. This goes past the players. The players need to focus on the football. This is more political than that. This is the fans and the ownership. This is much bigger than the players. Big up to you, Per. I hope you're doing well, mate. Big up DJ Sav. Good to see you on the live. Do I stream? That's a great question. I wasn't planning on streaming. I was planning on recording and doing some interviews. So I can look into it. That's an option, I guess. Yeah, that's certainly an option. Yeah, I'll have to think about that. I was planning on interviewing fans. I wasn't planning on doing it on a live stream. But it's something that I can look into. I can look at that. It is the government, though. They are the real scum in this. I agree with you there. Roman's son. Hey, I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. If we can get Roman's son involved, I'll be well chuffed. I'll be well chuffed. Don't think the government would have that. But, hey, listen. Many years down the line, Abramovich could be cleared of his sanctions. Get him back in. Bring the man back. Even if Chelsea is a shadow of what it was, because he has to rebuild from this mess that has been created with the Americans and the Americanization of Chelsea, it'd be nice to know that we have our own back, wouldn't it? It'd be a beautiful thing. What a fantastic moment that would be. Michael, Alex at Chelsea Fan TV is doing his brief. Alex is upset like all Chelsea fans. Support him like we support Minerals FC units fighting the club. Well, big up to you, Chelsea young boys. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to sit here and act like I have all the information. I don't have it. I don't have all the information. I always, like any fan, I feel like a lot of fans had this. You've got this optimism. Of course you do. People used to have a go at me because I was so optimistic. Because you want your club to do well, and you presume the people that own your club want you to do well. And when you see that your ambitions are different, it's very sad. Sad, isn't it? And it makes you angry. Especially we're in the stadium again for the Brighton game. Ricky, who I was sitting with, absolutely fuming. Alex, what the fuck am I watching? They don't care about us. That was the title of the vlog. For those of you who haven't seen Ricky, this is Ricky right here, the thumbnail of the vlog.
These bunch of fucking pricks, they need to sort their fucking self out. They are fucking shit today. They've been shit for the last month and a half. I don't give a fuck. There's no passion, there's no desire out there. They can fuck off and he can get fucking sacked in the morning. I don't give a shit. This cunt's had enough time on him. Fuck off. This ain't fucking Chelsea. This is fucking shit. Get Roman back. Fuck off, you cunts.
This is not Chelsea. Get Roman back. This is not Chelsea. We need the Strasbourg Ultras too. Bring on the Strasbourg. Bring them on. Yes, and when you talk about the chairman, so 5 years it will be Todd, and then Egbali will have the next 5 years. And then somebody else will have it the next 5 years. You'll have Feliciano. It's easy to extract money out of the club. It's easy. They're doing it already. It's not good. Not good at all. When Roman came to Chelsea, he went in the dressing room and told the players in Russian he wants to win games, he wants to win cups and Champions League. The American owners don't, but they spend more time in the dressing room than Roman ever did. They spend more time in the dressing room. This is not the NBA, lads. This is football. Stop watching the players get changed and start bringing in better players. How about that? They took a loan of 750 million already on a debt with BlueCO. We heard yesterday. Oh, fantastic. Brilliant. Where did that come out? Who released that? Fuck's sake. Where's that come from? I mean, I did see something about that debt that could be up to sort of hundreds of millions. I mean, that's closer to $1 billion. It's not great, is it? Chelsea owners take on debt. What the fuck is this? Oh, God. How did I not see this? 800 million. 800 million. Oh my God. Can you believe this? Are we talking about this here? This was in 2022. Eclipses $650 million that was raised by Man City's parent company last year. The new owners of Chelsea Football Club are raising roughly £800 million of debt as they reshape the running of English of the English Premier League team following the end of the Roman Abramovich era. The financing arrangement consists of a roughly 300 million revolving credit facility and a £500 million term loan. According to people with direct knowledge of the matter, it eclipses the $650 million raised by Man City's parent company last July. US financer Todd Boehly and private investment firm Clearlake Capital acquired Chelsea for $2.5 billion on May 30th. They also committed to invest a further $1.75 billion in the club, including in the playing squads, talent academy, and the stadium as well. In the latest of a series of fundraisings in football that underline the connections between elite sport and high finance, as investors buy into top clubs, Chelsea's new owners are implementing a financial plan to boost the London club's operations, update its Stamford Bridge Stadium, and further expand the team's global fan base. Well, you're not winning any fans doing what you're doing at the moment, are you? Because we're shite. Fans want teams to win. How are you going to win fans if you're shit? You're not going to grow the game, are you? Because you're crap. They'd rather support Man City. I see kids these days. I see kids wearing Man City shirts. Why? Because they win. We don't win. So why would we get more fans? That's why if you go to America, you don't see fans with bloody, I don't know, Brentford shirts because they don't win. You don't see fans with Brighton shirts. So why do you think you're going to grow the game doing what you're doing? Because you're not investing for Chelsea to win. You are investing for Chelsea to expand as a brand. But the brand is only matters to people who want to buy. I mean, it doesn't matter if they don't win games, they're not going to get anything. Come on. Oh my days. Fuck's sake. And if you don't know who Redbird Capital is, the one who acquired AC Milan, and you've seen the video of Egbali, he was with the guy who owns Redbird Capital. He was with him. He said, you're going to make money on this deal. It's all about money. The term loan would form part of Bowley and Clearlake's 1.75, blah, 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 blah. When was this? When was this article made? It's an old article. Am I reading something wrong here? So this is in 2022. This isn't even recent. Why is this only just coming to light now? Find the piece about what Sebastian Viss, the other investor of Bowley, said about Roman and why he invested only to get rid of Roman. Pull it up and see. I think I know what you're talking about. It's Hansburg Wiss, isn't it? Or is Sebastian Wiss's son or something? Oh, fuck's sake. Swiss billionaire Hansburg Viss approached to buy Chelsea from Roman Abramovich. Great. The 86-year-old has admitted interest in purchasing Stamford Bridge Club from Roman Abramovich, but only as part of a consortium. The Russian blah, 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 blah. Of course, it was a fucking Labour MP that did this. Fuck off. I know what you're telling me about as well. I do know what you're telling me. It's not in this article. Basically, Wiss said that he basically hates Abramovich. He doesn't like Abramovich. And that's why he bought Chelsea, because he doesn't like Abramovich. So he's basically doing it to rub it in his face. It's pathetic, isn't it? Guy was 86 at that time. What's he now? 89? Is he dead? Is Vis even still alive? Like, we're pensioner FC as well as hedge fund FC, for fuck's sake. All right, let's answer a couple of questions, guys, and then I've got 5 more minutes. Happy Tuesday. Oh, it's the Daily Mail Online. Let's see if it's on the Daily Mail then. Honestly, can't find the article. I don't know why. I have seen the article. I don't know why I can't find it. I have seen it. I've only got a couple of minutes, so I'm not going to go into any more articles. I'll just answer some questions, and then we've got another show tonight at 7 o'clock tonight. Charlie will be doing the live show. So I'm not sure what he's set the show up for, but it's going to be at 7 o'clock. Smash the like button, guys. Got 170 of you in the building. Can we get up to 150 likes on the video? Can we get up to 150 likes? This currently has lots of lawsuits against him. What, against Abramovich? Why? Why does he have lawsuits against him? Chris Bryant is the one who forced us to sell by moaning to Boris about every time he could. Who does Chris Bryant support? I'd love to know that. Who does he support? Pathetic, isn't it? Do you think Del Horno coming in as a director could be a good move? Is he? Is he the director? I mean, I don't know anything about that. Again, let me know if I'm... I feel like I've learned a lot tonight. Today. Versus kids thought Chelsea was a shop. Oh, isn't that brilliant? Absolutely brilliant. The English public bought the whole Russia as a bogeyman narrative and allowed this to happen right under their nose. Shameful. Good to see you, Paul. Hope you're doing well, mate. Smash the like button, guys. If you haven't already, takes a minute. Makes a difference. Whew. I don't like BlueCO at all, but we cannot replace owners like managers. And we could also end up with United, like United with Ineos after years of wanting the Glazers out. But you say that like Ineos is a bad thing. Ineos could be a bad thing for Chelsea. It's not a bad thing for United, mate. It might look that way. Ineos is owned by Jim Radcliffe, who's a Man United fan. What I would give for Chelsea to be owned by a Chelsea fan, what I would give. If United fans are unhappy with their ownership, I'm sorry. Like, you had a good turnout. You could have just had the Glazers full stop and nobody would have agreed to pay anything. But instead, you had Jim Radcliffe come in, pay an inflated fee for the club for a small percentage, but he knew he was going to have football in control. And we don't have that. We do not have people that know anything about football. We do not have people who want success on the pitch. We have people who want success financially. That's where we are. No, I know who Del Horno is. Why is he is he actually coming to Chelsea, or is that just a random comment? Lil Tenenchi says these are some serious times. We shall surely see who is really the truly we should surely see who's really the Chelsea FC fans through thick and thin. Absolutely, mate. And that does not mean that you don't turn up. It means the opposite. It means that you do turn up, even if you're not happy. Have I ever done a video with Matisse? No. I'm happy to do a video with Matisse. I'm happy to do it. Oh, the channel did a video with Matisse last year, but Charlie did it. I just asked Charlie if he wanted to do it. I'm not really that bothered about collaboration, but I'm happy to do it. Of course I am. And I like Matisse, so I'm happy to jump on with Matisse. Of course I am. If he's happy to do it, I'm more than happy to do it. I like Matisse. Simon will be there 6 or 6:15 for the protest. Big up to you, my friend. Nick Candy would be a lovely owner. Absolutely. No, he's a Man United fan. He still has the season tickets, if I'm not wrong. I used to see, well, basically my dad has season tickets not far away from, because at Chelsea, a lot of the big celebrities don't sit in boxes. It's a bit weird, actually. Like, you would think that celebrities would have season tickets in boxes, but they just have this sort of hospitality area. Jeremy Clarkson is one of them. The drummer from Queen, he sits right in front of my dad. So I've seen him at quite a lot of the games. Players as well. Loftus-Cheek used to come up there. Courtois used to come up there. You see Lampard. So yeah, like, it's a really small area actually, and everyone's kind of in the same place. I've seen Nick Candy up there when he was rumored to actually be buying the club, which is quite cool. So yeah, I don't know if he sold those season tickets, but you know, Jim Radcliffe never went. His family went. People use them. Jim Radcliffe didn't use those tickets. Big up to you, Daniel. Hope you're well, mate. Unfortunately, we're about to wrap up. So, if you want to watch the show, you'll have to backtrack a little bit. But listen, guys, appreciate your time. I really do. There's going to be another show at 7 o'clock. Tune in for that. Up the Chelsea. And thanks so much for your support. We've got 150 of you in here. Smash the like button. And if you want to come back at 7 o'clock, there will be another live show. So jump on for that. And we will catch up soon. All the best and speak soon.